Welcome to Gold Medal Business, the place to be if you're a children's activity and sport entrepreneur who is serious about growing and scaling your business to six-figure success and beyond. We talk growing your team, growing your students and your venues, and so much more. I'm Katie Cannon, former 5 times British gymnastics champion turned 7-figure entrepreneur. Are you ready to get started? Let's grow your business. One goal can be broken down into multiple different elements. But if you're just focusing on one key goal, let's say really increasing your student numbers, those other 2 goals are going to come at the same time as you're focusing on that one goal. And I always encourage in our community, you wanting to keep laser focused. So one of the mistakes I made in the very early days was literally, I would be like, I really wish I had kept my vision boards from many years ago, because you guys would be cracking up laughing on the floor because they were hilarious. I had about 20 main big fat goals that I wanted to achieve. No wonder I didn't achieve any of them, because there were too many. You want one goal that you can really focus on that will achieve and tick off a few others if you focus on that. So as I said, you focus really on focusing on building your student numbers, and you've worked your numbers out correctly, you will in turn hit your finance goal. You will also then hit your team goal. So your road to freedom, my friends, is in your team. If you've had a bad experience in building your team. So I want you to leave those feelings at the door. And I call it, I said, if you've been following me in Gold Medal for a while, I teach from an athlete and business perspective. Because the mindset, the tenacity, the persistence, the overcoming diversity, the overcoming failure from athlete to business, there are a lot of traits. Whether you were an athlete or not, it doesn't matter. But you can build that into you. You as an entrepreneur, you're a business athlete. And the biggest thing I want you to do, and you can relate this, guys, to anything. And this is the perfect time of the year to be doing this. I don't want you to play injured into 2025. So years ago, I had some really bad experiences with staff members. And like I'm sure we've all done, I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to let me do it myself. I can do it much better than this. I'll just do it myself. And what does that do? It stagnates your business. You're suffocating your business. You can't grow. Your road to freedom is your team. So you need to overcome those feelings that are coming up when you may think, I've had bad experiences, or I'm scared to hire again, or I need that really key position and I've gone through 3 crappy people and now I'm on the 4th and I don't think they're the right person. Keep going. But I want you to think of that analogy of not playing injured. It's like going into 2025 with all the bad feeling and all the negativity from 2024, and going into, it's like if you made a bad investment. Maybe it's a bad investment in equipment. Maybe it's bad investment in a mentorship. Maybe it's bad investment into a team member. I don't want you to hold that back. So it's exactly like going out on the field and playing with your injury in your mind, going, do you know what? I'm just playing at 50% today because I'm worried about my foot. I'm dragging my foot. I'm really worried. About my foot. It's gonna go on me. It's heavily bandaged. I'm really worried about it. You're playing 50%. So what's that going to give you? You're going to play at 50%. You're not going to perform at your best. So you've got to leave the injuries off the field in business. You've got to go into next year 150% and go, yeah, that did happen, but this is how we're going to overcome it. So I want you to start really thinking, and that's what our workshop that we're doing on the 10th of December is going to really help you plan out thoroughly every single step, how to really plan a very successful business in 2025 in this industry, okay? All what I've learned in the last 16 years of building gyms and franchises is going to be in there of what to do, what not to do, and what, quite frankly, you don't need to do, most importantly, to keep it very simple. Because your business, simplicity scales, complexity kills your business. Simplicity starts at the very root of your business, and that is the planning phase. If you keep your planning simple, your business is going to be simple, okay? So, number 1, when you're planning your road to freedom, I want you to be really clear on who is in each position in your business. And I really encourage you to get a simple white piece of paper, pop it in your office at the side, pop it on your notebook, wherever you're going to see daily. And you're literally going to have a position for everybody in your company. So you may have admin, then you have sales. That might be a combined role to start with. That's okay. But as your company grows, it's going to be 2 people. You may then have center manager or a studio manager or a director of preschool or a preschool instructor or a head coach of camps, head coach of parties, whatever is within your business model, within our industry. And your role is to put a person's name in each position. When you split your roles, this may sound obvious, but believe me, when I'm working with clients day in, day out, and I'm looking all over their businesses, you've got multiple people, also say one person doing multiple roles. And then we've not got the maximum efficiency. We've got a role that's being done half-heartedly because they're overworked and they've got too much on their plate. So you're wanting to create it simple and have a person in each position. I said, Rome's not built in a day. This isn't going to come straight away if you're a team of 1 at the moment. Obviously, I may be speaking to you if you're a team of 1 or you're a team of 50. But each point, you're going to have a position, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's admin, whether it's a studio manager, whatever the position. Why do you do that? It's because you have got to have people in their zones of genius. You have to have people in their zone of genius to give them a high level of focus, to limit their confusion, create maximum efficiency, create complete focus and clarity. And when you do that, it all starts to fall in place with your goals you've set for next year. Because when you're crystal clear on what you want to achieve, your team member is also going to be really crystal clear because what they're doing is helping towards the bigger picture of the company's goals. So number 1 is ensuring you've got your roles very specific and completely split into different roles so that you've not got too much crossover. As I said, this isn't going to happen overnight. So you might have at the minute 1 person doing sales and admin. You may think, do you know what? In the first 6 months of 2025, I want to split that role because that role now is too busy for 1 person. So you've got 1 person just on sales, enrolling trials, enrolling new members, enrolling holiday camp members, parties, enrolling into schools, whatever your model. Then you've got someone on admin who is doing all the bits, moving up, chasing invoices, cancellations, you name it. So you've got the sales team and the administration team. Okay. So you've got those 2 positions and said you can then build that out into every pillar of your business. So once number 1, you've done your splitting of roles. Number 2, you're then going to position your key players. So once you've done that, you're going to want to ask, and I said, if you're a team of 1, you're going to think about this and start doing this as you're employing, as you're building your team. If you've already got an existing team, you want them to be seeing where are your core players? Where are their strengths? Where do they shine? And you're going to ask them exactly which pieces of their role do they love doing. Now, often you're not going to, I've never come across someone that says, you know, I love 100% everything about my role. If you get 80% close, job done. But you want to make sure, remember what I just talked about, zone of genius. You want to make sure that 80% of their day is operating in their zone of genius. And this, my friends, includes you. You are the CEO of your business. That is your job role. Our mission at Gold Medal Business is to create super high flying CEOs in the children's activity business, where you have a business that can run without you, but it also can thrive without you, and not have a business that is draining every ounce of you and you're in the business every single hour of the day. And when you go on holiday, everything stops. So this includes you, the CEO. So when you're creating these roles, I want you to think, if your day was in your zone of genius, what does it look like? What does your zone of genius look like when you're not having to do 100 other tasks? And you may think, do you know, it's just start getting clear on it. Because if you're not clear on it, you can't make it happen. If you're brand new into business, this may be a goal within the next 12 to 18 months. If you're very established in business and you haven't got your own CEO position clearly mapped out, then this is a matter of urgency, because you need to make sure you as a CEO have that complete clarity and that complete focus. Otherwise, you can't drive the ship. The ship doesn't know where it's going if you don't know where it's going. So I just want you to take literally 30 seconds and write down a couple of things that if you had your clear CEO role, what do you love doing? If you could do it all day long and not get paid for it in your business, you are going to get paid. So do not worry. That is not what we're creating. But thinking, if you could do something that I think this isn't work, I love doing, what would it be? I was actually working with one of my clients yesterday and they said, but Katie, once I've got this off my plate and we're very nearly there, what am I doing? And I'm like, we're developing new income streams because you've now got the white space, you've got the time, and you've got a business that's running without you. Now, so next year, their goal is 2025 is to double their income streams and double the amount they've got coming in without them doubling their time. Every time you add something to your plate, you need to take something off of your plate. So just start thinking, what does your zone of genius look like? I'll give you a little bit of an example. When I started my gym 16 years ago, I was everything. I was answering the phone. I was teaching all the classes, changing the bins. If the music broke, I was the one fixing it, all the emails. You know, we wear every single hat. Fast forward 16 years. I said, I have 3 businesses now, and my main focus in my gyms, I'm the visionary. I'm not in the business 99% of the time, but I'm the team leader. I'm the vision caster. We have a CEO in place, but I'm the one that leads the CEO. The CEO then runs the team. Okay. But I said 16 years ago, I was the dog's body. I was the one doing absolutely everything. Remember sitting very clearly in my office and the clock hit 1 o'clock in the morning and seriously considering, shall I sleep on that sofa? Because we had a really nice waiting room, or shall I go home? Okay. And I remember that's about the first 12 to 18 months of business. So I'm sharing this experience with you. If you're exactly there, this advice, I wish I'd known this from the very early onset of business. I really wish. So let this advice, that is the gold dust of mentorship. That's the gold dust of what gold medal can give you. It's giving you speed. Success loves speed. And I really wish I said, if I'd known what I know today, I could achieve what I've done in 16 years, probably in about, I'd say 9 or 10. So wisdom, use it for speed. Success loves speed. So as I said, one of my things now is in gold medal, to give you an idea on my zone of genius, to kind of give you some ideas. My zone of genius is doing events like this. So I have a whole back end team that do all our marketing, our anything like connections, our sales, and I do all our mentorship coaching. So my goal and my mission in gold medal is our events like this, and I do all the one-to-one coaching and our group training. So when you join bronze mentorship that I was talking about at the beginning, I do the coaching. That is my zone of genius. And that is what I spend 80% of my week doing. It wasn't always like that. So really think of, where do you feel that you shine and you step in, and no one in your company can do what you do. And you think, that is where I shine. Majority of probably what you do, somebody else can do in your business. Okay. So number 1, we've done splitting roles. Number 2, we've done key players. And then number 3, I want you to look at leading your team. So this will be, as a goal for next year, leading your team. Are you currently delegating well, or is it something to work on? Or are you a helicopter? Meaning, do you have someone in your team that you are constantly breathing over? Are you constantly hand holding them? Are you constantly feeling like you're needing to check their work? The key to consistent leadership is to make sure you are delegating, but you're not advocating. So making sure you've got key systems and processes in place that enable you to really let them get on with it. Like we just talked about, position them in the key areas. That's their zone of genius. So you're holding their hand, you're guiding them, but you're not squeezing the life out of them so that they don't have any inspiration to follow. They think that everything they do, they have to come to you and say, is this right? Is this correct? Because you haven't delegated correctly. And that's why we have clients come to us and say, I've tried that before and I end up doing it myself. It's not so much you've got the wrong team member, it's because you haven't delegated correctly with the right systems and processes, and you haven't led them in the right way. So it's not a delegation issue, it's a leadership issue. So it's really thinking of when you've got the right people in the right roles and you've got the right people in their zone of genius and you've split the roles correctly, you're then making sure you're leading them in the right capacity. Now, I've got a special guest about to come on who is phenomenal, my gorgeous Amy, who is phenomenal at leadership. Amy and I have been working together for majority of 2024. So Amy, can you believe it's nearly a year? It's mad when we're coming towards the end of the year. So Amy, can you share with our amazing community? So you're live on Zoom and we've got lots of people streaming in, a little bit about your background to start with, and Tiny Troops would be fantastic.
Sure. Thanks for having me, and thanks for that great introduction, Katie. So I own Tiny Troop Soccer. It's a preschool soccer program I have in the United States. We are located in about 17 states, and we're also in Japan. So it's mainly near military bases, but it's open to all kids. And so we've been able to grow. The most locations we've had at a time is 50, which was pretty cool. And so even in a later stage of business, having mentorship is so important to keep going, and sometimes to rewind you back to the basics and see, like, what do I need to put into place at the foundational level that'll help my business scale.
Absolutely. And I was talking about at the very start of this week, Amy, as well, about foundations, because I was obviously sharing some things we share during our live lectures like this. Sometimes you're coming up and we're repeating things. And it's the same with foundations in your business. Like, there's so many things, as you know, you're a good 8-10 years down the line. And I said, I'm 16 years into business. There's things that I think now, gosh, we used to do that. Why are we not doing that anymore? So those foundations are always so relevant. So Amy, can you share with us, because you've had an amazing journey this year. Can you just share, since we've started working together, some of the results that you've had, and very much also not just results in your company, but how you feel you're different as a CEO leading your brand?
Yeah, so we've grown. We've about hit our 1,000 players per month, which was really cool for us. It's been a long time goal. So that's definitely improved. We've implemented trials, which for a lot of youth entrepreneur businesses, a lot of people do that. We never had. And so again, something that may seem basic and easy to someone else, for me, with all my different locations, I wasn't quite sure how to implement it. So Katie and her team helped to do that. And we have about a 46% conversion rate. So that's one way we've been able to bring in new business. And Katie, you were just talking about teams, and it is so nice, guys, when you get in the right people. At this level in my business right now, I have a pretty robust admin staff, but if you asked me pretty much any detailed question, I wouldn't know it because they handle it. And it's so nice and refreshing. And trust me, I didn't start there. I started where I was coaching on the field. One time a coach didn't show up. I had my baby with me. So my baby was strapped to me and I was coaching the session with my toddler on the side, taking cash at the fields. That was our registration system. Paper, come sign your name and pay me cash. So it's easy to think, wow, somebody's at a level where I'll never get there. But trust me, we all start at that very beginning. And if I would have had mentorship back when I first started, because I didn't really start doing mentorships or masterminds until about 3 or 4 years ago, I can't imagine where my business would be now if I actually had someone to help me when I started out and implementing things.
I'm the same, Amy. Goodness, I wish
Oh
I'd,
my God. Yeah.
coaching though, 16, for me, 16 years ago when I started, coaching wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
small business coach, but it wasn't relevant to this industry and it wasn't consistent. But my goodness, I think of some of the decisions I made and I totally wouldn't have made them if I'd had the right guidance, for
For
sure.
sure. And it's easy to think, well, I don't need that. Well, I know that. At my level of business, that's kind of why I hung out in your group, Katie, before I ever committed, because I'm like, I know a lot of things. So I'm not sure what someone could quite teach me. But a lot of things that I've learned through Katie's mentorship aren't life-shattering things, but if you're not doing them, it doesn't matter if you know it or not. Like, I know a lot of things, but if I'm not implementing it, not having someone holding me accountable for it, then it's for naught.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I always say, like, nothing these days is brand new information anymore. You can learn it from when we get people say, well, I'm going to learn things on YouTube, or I'm going to learn things, excuse me, or I'm going to teach myself. And I'm like, you're going to teach yourself how to build a business you've never built before, whether you're trying to get from 0 to 100,000 or 100,000 up to 500,000. There's a reason you're not at their level. It's like getting in a car and trying to drive without a driving instructor. But YouTube and things are fantastic. We have more knowledge at our fingertips than we've ever done before. But it also is a negative because we see it all the time. It's then creates procrastination. You then end up with a roadmap. And goodness, I did it in the early days as well. I tried to follow things, and there wasn't half as much information there is now. But you end up doing things in the wrong roadmap to success. And then you end up with a very complex business that you can't control, and then it all fails. So, yes, I really like how you said that. It's the accountability, and it's the really ensuring. And said I've worked with coaches myself for the last 16 years as well. And a bit like yourself, Amy, there are things I think, well, I know that, I teach that, I know that. But then someone else looks at my business and they go, this is a hole. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been staring at that. Why can't I see that? Because you need fresh eyes. You always need fresh eyes. So can you just share with us, Amy, what is the best thing that you love about our gold medal community?
As entrepreneurs, and particularly women entrepreneurs, a lot of our life is spent with our partner or with raising our kids. I have 3 kids. And so it's very easy to become isolated in your business. And the only people you're around are people who have no idea about business, right? Like, you shouldn't ask your mom, what do you think about this Facebook? Because she's not this Facebook post, she's not your target audience. So you need people who are going through it with you or who have been through it that you can bounce ideas off of. I learned things even from the newer members of the community who are only in 1 to 2 to 3 years. I get off a call, and even if I'm just listening, I'm like, actually, I think I could do that with my business. How could I implement it? So it's critical to have support to continue to grow. And if you truly want to scale, we're very independent, right? We try to do it all on our own, but that will only take you so far.
Absolutely. And I love what you said there, Amy, because so often sometimes people go, well, are people in our community, are they give me the exact level that I'm at? And I'm like, no one's going to be the exact level you're at, because you can't have a group that's only for 50,000 plus or under. Right. It's always going to be there's some stretch that you're like, they're higher than me, or no, they're lower than me. But I like what you just said there, Amy, because so often we forget as we grow the foundations. And when you're around people who may be slightly lower in business than you, are bringing up things that they're thinking of that we've forgotten. There are things when you're building a business to say 100,000, there are things that are going to break at 100,000. And then there'll be, when you grow again, there'll be things that will break about 300,000, and then at 500,000, at every couple of 100,000 in your business, you're good. Things break where you feel like you need to take 10 steps back, build some strong foundations, and then off you go to the next 10 steps. So, Amy, can you just share with us, because I know we are so impressed with your student numbers and how everything's put in together. Can you just share with everybody on what were your numbers this time last year? And I know you're over the 1,000, but just so people can relate to that growth of how things have come together for you this year.
Yeah, so we have different locations that in the United States, like on the East Coast, we may close during winter for some of those months, or in the South, it's really hot in the summer, so we close. So our numbers kind of fluctuate, but I would say, we've hit the highest numbers we've ever hit in all of our months this year. So they've all increased from last year, which is really, really fun and cool. And so, last January, we had, I think, 400 and some players. And so now we're, about at that 1,000. So I'd say that's a good increase.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal increase. And do you know what I mean? You're an established business.
Yeah.
So it is a very good % growth. You're not, when you open up new venues, we all know it flies a little bit because it's a flurry of excitement.
Right.
And then the consistency kicks in. So being able to grow consistently year on year and like I said before I introduced you, is a true testament of your consistency, your leadership, your tenacity, and showing up whether you bloody well feel like it or not, you know. And that is the key, because many people can show up when it's going all amazing, but it's being able to consistently show up when it's when it's going great, when it's not, and you will start to see the results start to flow in when you can keep your emotions in one place. So thank you so much, Amy, for joining us, sharing your experience with our amazing community. As said, have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Katie. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Amy. And said, it's really important. One of the things we love the most is we can share with you, different, benefits and value from our community and what people have been learning this year. But it's more powerful when all our clients are jumping on. We have loads of different testimonials in our Facebook group of their results so far and what they've been achieving. And most importantly, said the community, when you are surrounded by people in the same industry, that is more powerful than ever. So just literally bringing together what we've learned so far today in our building your dream team to decrease your stress and increase your profitability this year, and also moving into 2025. This year just gone, it's nearly gone. So cool, 2024 nearly gone. And then how you can implement into next year. So really looking at splitting your roles, positioning your key players, and then making sure you've got the right leadership in place for your team. But the biggest piece of advice I can give you, and exactly what Amy said, you can't build your business alone. I have conversations like this on a day-to-day basis where I'm going to try it myself. I'm going to try and do all the free trainings. Mark my words, they're in the same position 12 months on. I'm 16 years into business as an entrepreneur and built 3 very successful companies whilst having a thriving family life. I'm passionate about teaching you both. You have to balance family, your passions, your lifestyles with business. And I have done that every step of the way with mentorship. As I said, in the first early days, I didn't have a coach for about 6 months to 12 months of my business. And I really wish I did, because I made some crazy mistakes in those first 12 months. I said I was Katie the gymnast. I didn't have a clue about business, but I had an amazing work ethic and I was willing to jump in and go for it. But with the right guidance, when you mirror your work ethic with the right guidance in the right industry, you rocket ship your business. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've enjoyed and you've really got some great benefits, please share with someone you know or someone in the children's activity space to really support them in their growth as a children's activity entrepreneur. Please hit subscribe so we can hit more people and get more great value to them. Thank you so much for being part of our community. It's an honor each week to train and nurture you, and I cannot wait to hear all of your great business successes.